Good morning. This is Mike Houston with your Thursday morning weather hazard briefing for southeast Idaho. Looking at the key points during this forecast period, we expect some isolated afternoon thunderstorm activity across the region today as a weak low pressure system continues to work through the region. A ridge of high pressure will build into the area for Friday, bringing drier and warmer conditions. And then we expect to see a fairly decent low pressure system scooting east through Canada for Saturday through Tuesday. That'll bring us a chance of thunderstorms to the Montana and Wyoming Divide region for that time frame. And as well, we'll probably see locally breezy conditions in the Snake River Plains Sunday and Monday and probably even Tuesday. Looking at our weather risk outlook matrix of doom, basically highlights those things I just told you. And looking at satellite imagery this morning, we do see some dwindling cloud cover here and a weak low pressure system positioned over southeast Idaho early this morning. It will slide south and east towards the Wyoming border through the day today, but lingering moisture associated with this low across the central mountains and southeast highlands will help to spark some isolated thunderstorm activity today. Looking at our storm track for today, the models are indeed showing that low pressure trough across the region. And just for some flavor, I thought I would show some statistical high-resolution model data that we have. Here we're looking at thunderstorm activity, and the colored areas or paintballs are those areas where the high-resolution models are thinking there may be some thunderstorm activity today. So looks like there's a corridor here from Ketchum up through Mackay to Dillon that may be open to some sort of thunderstorm activity, and another weaker corridor extending from Oakley to Malad Pass to Soda Springs. Looking at the official forecast for our chance of precipitation, you do see that flavor here as well, with a chance of precipitation extending from the central mountains up into southwest Montana, and then a weaker corridor here across the southeast highlands. Daytime highs today generally running in the 70s to lower 80s across the Snake River Plain and eastern Magic Valley, and squarely in the 70s in the central mountains and southeast highlands. Advancing to Friday, we see that low pressure trough now working well east of the divide, that ridge of high pressure now developing across the region ahead of this next low pressure system that is advancing towards the western Canadian coast. So underneath this ridge, we'll see very little chance of precipitation across the region on Friday. Here we are looking at 10-15% chance or less across the central mountains, so not much of a chance. And looking at those paintballs again, we have one model showing maybe a smattering of convection possible here near Ketchum. Otherwise, relatively dry across the region, which is what we're expecting. Here on Saturday, we look at the storm track. That low pressure system now spreading into western Canada, the ridge being shunted down. So we should begin to see an increasing flow across the region, so stronger winds, and the potential for some scattered thunderstorm activity up here along the Montana Divide, even extending a little further south here along the Wyoming Divide. Daytime highs will begin to peak here on Saturday and Sunday, with highs generally running in the upper 80s to almost mid-90s here in the eastern Magic Valley. And if you get up into the central mountains, squarely in the upper 70s to lower 80s, and similar readings here across the southeast highlands. As I mentioned, we may begin to see some wind gusts showing up Saturday, Sunday, Monday, maybe even Tuesday, as that stronger flow begins to work into the region. So here we are looking at wind gusts in the breezy range, 20 to 25 miles per hour across Shoshone and portions of the Snake River Plain. Similar conditions on Sunday as well. Here we are looking at the storm track for Monday. Now that low pressure system well out into central Canada, the ridge still pressed down here across the region, so we should see some fairly decent wind and a continuation of some potential for thunderstorm activity here across the central mountains, the Montana Divide and Wyoming Divide regions. And then high temperatures beginning to shave a bit off on the highs here, generally in the 90s, lower 90s here in the Snake River Plain and eastern Magic Valley, and squarely in the low to mid 80s here in the central mountains and southeast highlands. So dropping off a bit. And certainly more widespread low-end breezy conditions across the region here on Monday. And as I said, these conditions will probably extend into Tuesday as well. Okay, in summary, we are expecting isolated afternoon thunderstorms today, primarily across the Central Mountains and Southeast Highlands, as a weak low-pressure system works its way into the Wyoming border region. Drier conditions will follow Friday as a ridge of high pressure works into the region. Then as a low-pressure system works its way into western Canada and then into central Canada Saturday through Tuesday, we do expect scattered thunderstorm activity up near the Montana and Wyoming Divide region. In addition to the thunderstorm activity, we could see locally breezy winds in the Snake River Plain Sunday, Monday, and possibly Tuesday. That's all I had for you here this morning. If you had any comments, questions, or concerns, please reach out to us at one of these avenues here listed on the screen. Thank you.